Kurt, we are in the thick of it. Playoffs here for PBT Extra. Let's just start with the most exciting game on the slate that I saw, at least. Memphis, Golden State. Memphis walked away 106-101. We have to start what happened in the very beginning of the game when Dillon Brooks had a flagrant 2 foul on Gary Payton II. What did you see from that? And what do you expect the league to come down on that foul?
I'm really curious how they come down. I mean, first off, I know Steve Kerr was calling it dirty. I get you don't want to give away layups in the playoffs. And look, some of the most famous plays in the playoffs in recent years is LeBron James chase down block on Iguodala, but he got to the ball, right? Like he got over him and got to the ball. You can't taking a guy's head out when he's airborne is if it's not dirty, it's right on the edge of dirty, right? Like a guy is not able to protect himself. And in this case, I mean, this could alter the series, Corey. Like this was the primary defender on Ja Morant, who's now, I mean, it's a fractured elbow. As of us recording this, we don't know the details of the MRI, but as people that have spoken on this, doctors and people I've talked to, this is a weeks thing. Like a fractured elbow isn't, he'll be back in a couple of days. Like that's weeks at best, depending on the details. That alters the series. They don't really have another great defender matchup. I mean, they can try to get Iguodala back, Corey, but he's 38 coming off an injury. Like, is he going to stay in front of Ja Morant?
I mean, Ja Morant had 47, a playoff career high, and the 47, Kurt, the end of that game. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I was thinking, okay, it looks as though the Warriors are safe, and it's always looks as though when Ja Morant's on the floor, right? Nothing's exact. Because he basically willed his team towards that fourth quarter. It was like every possession in the clutch, and that's why he led the league in clutch points. But every possession down the stretch, Ja Morant layup, Ja Morant layup, Ja Morant 3-pointer, Ja Morant free throw, Ja Morant layup, and they won. So from my perspective, you're right. If you take away the primary defender, that alters this drastically.
Yeah, he scored the final 15 points. Every point within the final, I think it was 4:16 of the game. For the Grizzlies was Morant. And you're right. I thought, look, they had a couple of plays where they fell behind by 4 points with like 3 minutes to go. They lost Steph Curry on a pick and roll. How do you lose Steph Curry, man? You can't lose. Like they had a couple mental mistakes like that in a row. And I'm like, those are the kind of things that they need to learn, the Grizzlies as an organization, as a young team. You can't make those kind of mistakes against the Warriors, except you kind of can get away with it for a game because Ja Morant was so spectacular down the stretch, just hitting the floaters in the lane. He's just got every shot in the book. His ability to contort his body. I mean, we talked about this. We talked about it comparing him to Iverson or young Derrick Rose, and then I interviewed. You can find it at NBC Sports. I interviewed Allen Iverson, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I totally see Ja Morant in me." And he said it was mostly the aggressiveness and the willing to take on those big moments and know he can rally his team behind him that Iverson sees in him. It's an amazing outing. So do you think it changes the series though?
Yeah, I think just to cap on Ja Morant, I think the thing that's so fascinating to me about him is, like you said, the aggressiveness and just the ability when he moves in air. The only athlete that I've seen do something similar, and I'm seeing in person, would be parkour athletes. I used to cover this thing called World Chase Tag, and you could see these athletes. They're like professional stuntmen. They study movement, and they would be able to change their they could shift their weight like in midair. So they could shift their momentum even. They'd be going this way and then somehow shift their momentum and then push off a wall and go somewhere else. And I have never seen anyone move like that. And Ja Morant moves like that. Yeah. He's like a professional stuntman who's one of the best finishers around the rim, him and Kyrie. And, is clutch. It's unbelievable. But yes, this affects the series. But that's not the reason in my mind why this is so flagrant. The reason why I think it is, Kurt, is because you're affecting someone's livelihood and someone's family, right? Like this is something that goes beyond that. The way that Gary Payton was finding a role and a niche in that team, a defender, lockdown guy. I think that is what breaks my heart, and that's why it's uncalled for. Not because the series was one way or another. It's because you're endangering this man's ability to provide for his family at a critical moment. And it's not like Steph Curry's going to get paid. Clay's going to get paid. Draymond's going to get paid. But everyone, everyone around that it's like it's always kind of auditioning, right? So that's one thing that breaks my heart, especially on a fast break layup. Not even So that's the key thing.
I'm with you, by the way. That's Gary Payton is such a great story. Gary Payton did second because he bounced around the NBA for the last several years. He's been on the fringe. He's been at Summer League. He has been auditioning. He's been trying to find a role. He finally gets to Golden State, and they've got a niche for him. And he improved his game. Don't get me wrong, but he also fit a need for them as a guy who can be an on-ball stopper, hit some threes, just fits something they need. And now they're going to be without him. I'll say this: I don't know how much it really. I still trust the Warriors in this series. It definitely changes things in terms of like being able to slow Ja Morant, but Ja Morant had to put up 47 points and take over the final 5 minutes. The Warriors were 7 of 38 from 3 in game 2. Like I've never seen Klay Thompson miss that badly. Like I'm actually mildly concerned, like what's going on with Klay, because I've never seen him kind of miss that badly. Whatever's going on, I still think the Warriors, they're not going to shoot 7 of 30. They're not going to shoot 17% from 3 again. Like they're going to get home. They're going to find their groove. They're going to get a couple of calls, and I still like them in this series. I still think Memphis has stuff to learn.
No, absolutely. You look at as far as just the ceiling for either team. I agree. I think it's definitely the Warriors. I think it changes. As far as adjustments, maybe you'll see a game here or there. But towards the end of that, I'm thinking, like you said, 15 points in the final 4.5 minutes. It was all Ja Morant. Some of those shots went down. We also saw in game 1, some didn't.
Yeah.
And when they don't, you lose, right? So that's kind of the one issue with putting all your marbles in one basket. It's nice to have a player like that. But if the ball doesn't roll, right? Someone else got to step up. Which brings me to the next series I'm dying to get your take on. Boston, Milwaukee. This to me is like 2 heavy hitters. I mean, everyone down the line, everyone stepping up. But we have to address the elephant in the room, Kurt. Chris Middleton. I mean, with the MCL strain, he's not been playing, and now the series tied 1-1. Jason Tatum playing extremely well. What did you see from that series?
Yeah, and Chris Middleton really affected game 2. Game 1, didn't it feel like Boston? Look, they got every shot they wanted against the Nets for 4 games. They swept them out of the playoffs. As great as Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are, and they got whatever shot they wanted. You want to switch? Let's just target Curry. Let's target whatever they wanted to do. They were able to do offensively. And in game 1, going up against the length, the physicality, the high IQ of the Bucks defense, like, no, we're not switching. We're going to go under, scram, and we're going to show out and then get back to our positions, and you're not going to find it that easy. They were just shell-shocked. They missed a lot of shots. They were all missing threes. I think it was just they hadn't played against a defense like this in a while, and suddenly it was like, whoa. In game 2, they got back out in transition. They hit some of their threes. Jaylen Brown was aggressive from the opening minute. Like, I love that part of it. And the other thing that I think the Celtics have going for them in this series, and I think it's going to last a while, their defense has been so good in both games. Like, their defense was good enough in game 1, and in game 2, they did a great job of, first off, Grant Williams on Giannis Antetokounmpo was impressive. And more importantly, they didn't switch. They chased guys off. They didn't let them have the open threes. They didn't let them have the open looks. And that was the game where now it's on the Bucks to adjust. The Celtics made their adjustments, and they looked great in game 2.
They looked very good. I mean, there was this one play that stood out to me, and there's a lot of plays, but one I want to draw to your attention. That was when Jason Tatum, he drives and he kicks out to, I think it was Derek White. And then he's in the middle of the lane, and then he sees, oh wait, there's open space. Immediately, like there's like no hitch in his step. Immediately flushes out to the corner, and then White penetrates, kicks it out to Tatum, knocks down the 3. And I'm like, when Jason Tatum's playing in flow state, I'm like, this is dangerous. This is like Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan mode. I'm like, this is dangerous. He's not thinking, and he's just playing, and it's at a super high level, and he's affecting the game in every aspect. To me, that's when the Celtics are whoa. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Derek White, because I think Derek White has found a really nice niche on that team as well. Like what he does extremely well for them, and I think he understands his role. So, anyways, really, really good fit. But the key for me is Middleton, right? Like, how did you think because Drew Holiday played well. You know, Giannis does what Giannis does, plays super well. But without Middleton, how does that affect that Bucks team?
That's their primary secondary creator, especially in the half court. But they actually, like I said, they did. Giannis is going to get points, right? Giannis is still Giannis. He's still going to make his plays. He's still going to, especially in the first game when the shots weren't falling, he was able to set up teammates and find guys and get them rolling. Boston did a better job defensively, taking everybody else away in game 2, and kind of Giannis didn't take over. But even if he did, it might have been more like Luka against Phoenix. Like, he can put up all the numbers he wants. It might not be enough. That's, I think, where Boston's going, and I think you're going to have to see Milwaukee adjust to that. Not having Middleton hurts there. Middleton is there. All right, you're going to take away this. Good luck guarding the 6'8" guy who can shoot inside or post you up or make great passes. Like, we've got a guy, and we're going to run him off picks with Giannis or picks with Lopez, and it's going to be really difficult for you to adapt all this. Not having that takes away a huge weapon for them in the half court, and it's much tougher to adjust. Drew Holiday can definitely run pick and roll. They've got some other steps, but they're just missing a key creator for them.
Yeah, it reminds me actually of bullfighting to a certain extent. I don't know, stay with me, because you know how in bullfighting you have the red, right, and the bulls go, and you kind of let them run through. So I think at a certain extent that's kind of what we're seeing in the playoffs, where you can hemorrhage us, right? But the rest of the team's gonna have to play. Someone else is gonna have to step up. And if you let Giannis get what Giannis gets, you let Ja Morant get what Ja Morant gets. You know, you let everyone do their thing, right, in all these different series. But at the end of the day, like, we're the better team. We're still going to be able to beat you, despite letting one person run rampant. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here without Chris Middleton. Is like, it's really fascinating to me. Boston looks so good. Robert Williams comes back from that injury flawless. Like, it just looks like seamless. And I was worried about that, Kurt, especially in the playoffs. The intensity. He's a younger player. On the cusp of that, really, that he's kind of opening up, especially in his career. You look at the extension he just signed. I'm like, okay, this is a great moment for him. How will he address the pressure? He's like, it's more pressure. So everything that Boston's doing right now, I'm like, man, this is starting to get a little scary.
Yeah. By the way, first off, I picked the Celtics in this. I think they can continue this, and I think they do miss Middleton that much. I think that ultimately might be the difference in what would have been a coin toss series to me before. Secondly, a bullfighting reference, man. Like, have you been like reading Hemingway or something? I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I'm in New York. I'm going to the Met every week, so there's always something around. I might pick out a Rodin reference next week. I don't know. But this week it was bullfighting. I can't tell you. So the next series on the docket, let's go to Miami. Miami, Philadelphia. Tyler Hero recently won Sixth Man of the Year. It was like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He's averaging 20 points off the bench. Exceptional, accepting that role. And Miami is currently up over Philadelphia. What did you expect to see in this series?
Game 1 kind of played out like I feared it would for Philadelphia, which is what we had talked about before. Without Joel Embiid, it's very difficult for them to generate the offense. They are hoping he is back for Game 3 or at the worst Game 4. Hopefully, he gets out of the concussion protocol, which is, it is what it is. You come back when you're ready. The second part of that, though, is the fractured eye socket, the orbital bone. That's like every other fracture, your arm, your leg. There can be the simple crack, or there can be the displaced, we're doing surgery and putting in pins. We don't know. The orbital socket is that way. If this is minor and he can come back with the mask by Game 3, that gives Philadelphia a chance. Like, that evens the series. As great as Bam Adebayo is, that's not an ideal matchup. Nobody is an ideal matchup. It's hard to stop them. And in Game 1, didn't their offense just look lost? They just looked lost against a very good defense without having Joel Embiid as kind of the focal point of it.
Yeah, and when you have an MVP caliber player, it's hard to replace that production, period. And in matchups, it's like, who is a good matchup for Joel Embiid, defensively? The answer is no one. So it's kind of, it is very fascinating to see, because he's had this injury before, but on the other side, right? So when you think about injuries in the playoffs and how, they can completely derail, we're starting to see this play out in front of us. And even Steph Curry had that little thumb thing that we kept seeing in the game. And earlier in the series, like, in the first series, we're like, is Steph going to come back early or not? So we're seeing like Devin Booker as well. It's like this playoff is, I don't know why, it just feels like all these stars we're kind of walking on eggshells to see what will happen. Do you feel that way too? It's kind of like every week I'm almost afraid to open up my app to see what the news will be.
Yeah, it's been, and Mark Stein has been kind of tracking this, by the way. There's been now, Embiid made 7 All-Stars who have missed a game in this
Wow.
post, which is a stunning number. Last year it was 10, but last year was COVID and there was just more going on, and it was a kind of fluky year. But we all thought, oh, that's just a fluky year. And now we're seeing it a lot this year, and it's really, like we said, it's not only All-Stars missing games, and Embiid obviously changes things, and Middleton obviously changes things. But again, the Gary Payton we talked about, and stuff like the injuries are to rotation players, and it's really impacting guys. And it's not. I mean, injuries are part of the game. It's something everybody and every sport has to deal with. But there's years you look at it and you're like, man, this is really changing the complexion of what we'd hoped we'd see.
Yeah, without Joel Embiid, it's Miami all the way, and I think Miami is one of those teams where it's such a rare thing, Kurt, and we talk about this all the time. When you have someone like Haslam who has, I mean, decades, think about that for a second, in the professional sports league, decades of experience, and with one, like, Heat experience with this team, this culture, and then you also have the stars, and you also have that chip on the shoulder, and they go as Jimmy Butler goes, which is like this underdog mentality. They're flying under the radar. Tyler Hero accepts his role exceptional. Spoelstra is an unbelievable coach. Everything about the Heat should frighten anyone who's not a Heat fan right now. And especially with this moment in Philadelphia, it seems as though it's almost like sometimes you see like a ramp up, right? Where, I don't know if you're on a treadmill, but you start off at like 3, then you maybe do 5, then 7, then you're full sprint by 11 or something. That's kind of what we're seeing with the Heat at the current moment. And I do wonder, when they're peak Heat, they might be peak Heat at the finals, which is scary.
The other concern here is, even if you get Joel Embiid back and this becomes a really even series, or maybe even a slightly Philly series, if he comes back in game 3, but they're down 0-2 and have to win 4 out of 5, that just might be too big an ask.
Even for a potential MVP player, right?
Yeah.
Next up, Phoenix, Dallas. This is interesting. Luka Doncic, first time outside the first round. And he almost had Luka's numbers, right? A triple-double in the 30 points. It's
ridiculous.
Still not enough. So with that data point, I know it's only 1, but what do you expect in the series?
That's unfortunately kind of what I expected. This is the Dallas team. I think you'll see them in future games work to get Brunson more involved, work to get Dinwiddie more involved. That you've got to have more offense. I think you'll see them, if not start, at least go heavy Maxi Kleber to space the floor and try to get Ayton out and into space and have to guard things. I think there's things they can do, but the problem, and we've talked about this all season, is this is a well-oiled machine in Phoenix that is deep, that is versatile, that is well-coached, and can counter, like, whatever punch you throw, they're going to have the counter punch ready. And so whatever Dallas does, I just feel like they can go to it. And if you go with Kleber, we'll see what Ayton had 25 in the first game. I think he's going to have a monster series simply because they don't have anybody who can guard him inside. And they're just really good. Hey, we're just going to keep lobbing you the ball at the rim and let you finish. And they don't have anybody who can stop you. You don't have to hit mid-range jumpers. You're not going to have to create your own shot. You're just going to have to finish at the rim. And Dallas, I just don't know how Dallas stops that.
Yeah, this is one of those series for me where you just build the legend of Luka. This is like, it's one of the, but this is a series where it's almost, how do I say? It's like one of those like epic battles where there's just no hope, but you have a player do an unreal individual effort. I mean, this is what the head coach said. I'm just going to read you something really quick, Kurt, just to give it emphasis. And I quote Jason Kidd. I thought Maxey and Luka in that first half kept us afloat. We could have easily been down 39 at halftime, but Maxey and LD were good. End quote. Think about that for a second. Easily 39 at half. So this is one of those things where we're going to see, in my personal opinion, Luka have like 4 or 5 30 or 40-point triple doubles, and it adds to the lore. And it's going to be one of those, Jimmy Butler moments where he's, exhausted over the thing. And it's going to be like the legend building of Luka. But beyond that, I mean, this is the whole issue we've seen in Dallas that, Kristaps couldn't help Luka. Now it's Maxey and Luka and, Jalen Brunson and Luka. Like, he even said it, I think Coach said it best. We've just got to get someone to join the party. And that's been the issue in Dallas. Who's going to join Luka at this party?
And it's amazing the kid's that honest about it. It feels to me almost a little like early Jordan. Now, early Jordan was going up against the Bad Boy Pistons, who were, multiple-time champion, legendary franchise, team. But it was for a few years, man, look at Jordan put up these crazy numbers. Look at how great he is in the playoffs. They can't win yet. Like, they're not there yet because they weren't there as a team. Scottie Pippen hadn't ascended to that level. Horace Grant in those early years, and then obviously bringing in Phil Jackson and stuff. Like, they hadn't done everything they needed to do to get to that level. And I kind of feel like that's where Dallas is. They've got. I still watch Luka and think, how many MVPs does he win before he retires? Because it's not going to be one. Like, it's going to be multiple, but it's not enough. It's not going to be enough in this series.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up that analogy. It really is this idea of, well, how do you bring them with you? And I think that is the question that Luka has to grapple with, and the ownership. This is not just a Luka question. This is also how do you put pieces around him? And this is why teams like Dallas confuse me, and I kind of lament a little bit, Kurt, because I mean, if you're a coach on that coaching staff, there's nothing you could do tactically. I mean, this is like you're just outgunned, So I'm thinking, like, at this point, we're gonna have to be like military tactical geniuses to give us a fighting chance, not even a guarantee win. It's like we're just trying to steal games at this point, and that's a really hard place to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's just difficult to overcome.
So now PBT picks. It's always my favorite part. Always my favorite part. We think about conference finals. Who do you have?
Well, look, I've wanted this in the West from the start, and I really still want to see. I want Phoenix against Golden State. To me, that is. Golden State is the one team on paper that could give Phoenix and that depth real challenges. They've got the guard play to play with Booker and Paul. To me, that is a fantastic series, a chess match, coaching-wise, intensity, just everything about that series. So I've wanted that from the start. I still want that. I'm still kind of expecting that now. In the East, it's pretty interesting. I'm going with the Celtics still because I think Boston's still, without Chris Middleton, I still think, though, whoever wins that series, I kind of think comes out of the East. But it's not going to go through Miami. I'm still picking Boston, but I don't think getting through Miami is going to be a piece of cake. But I think it's going to be Boston-Miami in the conference finals. And that is a 6 or 7 round. It's more like 15-round heavyweight fight, right? Like, that one's going to be physical and long.
Yeah, I think it's Boston's time. I've been slow on this one because I'm hesitant. I see Jason Tatum as one of the transcendent players of our generation. Really, it's not even a question in my mind. And I've been waiting to see that team gel. And I told you, I was like, I don't know if they're going to figure it out before these the next contracts for Jalen and for Jason. I was like, I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, the way Marcus Smart is playing. I mean, all these guys, and plus they're going to get Marcus Smart back. Right? That's what's so scary. It's like, so anyways, you think about everything, all those pieces around them, and Ime Udoka, the way he's coaching right now, I believe now. I think it's Boston's time. And that hurts me because I think the Bucks, are an amazing team. And I love Giannis. I adore what they're doing in that organization. But I think it's Boston's time. I think it's going to be Boston-Miami. And that is a series there. I think Miami's been underrated all year long. And I think they carry that. And I don't know what happens. But let's wait for that one. I agree with you. It has to be Phoenix and Golden State. They're the better teams. I just don't trust. I understand Ja does this, and he's done this all year long. It's like what he's done is score like 10 to 15 points in the fourth quarter reliably. But we also know Steph Curry can do the same thing, and Klay Thompson can have 30 and a quarter. Like we know what the Golden State Warriors have as well. And I think that off balances Ja's incredible closing ability. So I think it's going to be those two.
I think we're going to be talking about Memphis late in the playoffs in a few years, but they're just not there yet.